Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. Especially then because you get into couples. I feel like I've heard that the biggest reason for divorce or whatever is finances. And as we're kind of alluding to, there's a lot more to it. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Let's. So, let's do like recreation as an example because it's a little bit more fun. So, like, how much we spend on recreation. So I'll have a couple come in and somebody will, let's say golfing. It's very stereotypical. That the guy goes golfing a lot. And there's money being spent on that. And then maybe one of the things that used to come up, scrapbooking is not as much of a thing as it used to be, but it used to be a
Mhm.
thing and there would be lots of
Yeah.
supplies required, right? And so I can remember sitting in a room with a couple kind of fighting over, well, they're trying to come up with a budget and they're conflict over how much so and so is spending on this and how much so and so is spending on this, right? Or one time it was, and it's their hobbies. And then another time it was like one side of the couple wants to do DoorDash, right? Because they just had a baby and they're both working. They went back to, she went back to work. And so they're doing DoorDash and a lot of their money's going towards that. And the other party wants to save more and because not for something really specific, just they feel like they should be saving more. And so there's this conflict over values and what's important. And instead of having a conversation over, okay, well, honey, like we're spending a lot of money on golfing or on this hobby. What what do you enjoy about it? How is that meeting your needs? Like what values does that align with for you? And is there a way that we can maybe meet that need because it's totally valid? It's completely valid without spending, quite as much money. How could we do that? Let's brainstorm. Instead, it's that need, not valid. You need to knock it off because you're ruining our financial security. Right? And so then we get into these conflicts over whether needs are valid, whether it's a want or a need, right?
Yeah. And as we talked about, like just get rid of wants and needs and try to understand like what the value is. What is it doing for that person? What is it adding and respecting each other's what's important?
Yeah, exactly. And then finding a different way to do that. Sometimes it's one of the things that came up is, or has come up is generosity, right? Because that's a hard one to really invalidate when somebody wants to feel generous, like at Christmas or you go out to dinner with your family and they always want to pick up the tab for the whole family, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, and it's really hard for a partner to be like, you gotta like, not, like maybe pull back on that because we need to be maybe putting some money away for whatever else we value. It's like, well, but I'm just being generous, right? Like
Oh,
how do you
Mike and I
say,
had this conversation today as far as like generosity being like a way to meet a need, but yet it's hurting what he really wants.
mm-hmm.
But still wanting to, just to sort that out.
Yeah, right. And so I can remember brainstorming with a client, because she liked to do really elaborate birthday activities for her friends, like that was part of her identity almost. And that's another thing that I think we forget about money. And it obviously comes up in couples is that the way that we spend, the way we consume is actually, it's not a habit. It's not just that simple. It's part of our identity. The way that we consume, buy things, get rid of things, that whole consumption, cycle, that's part of our identity. And so she would do these elaborate like birthday events and it was part of who she was as a person. So I couldn't just be like, you can't just be stop buying the latte or stop throwing these birthday parties for your friends. It's like, why, how can you maintain that? Do you want to maintain that piece of your identity? Is it actually meeting a need that you really value? Right? What do you value most? How can we be more intentional about consuming in a way that supports who you want to be as a person, right? Like,
Instead of auto overgiving or auto
right.
doing this, really checking to see if you're in alignment.
Yeah. And so it's so much deeper than that. And I'm really not a big fan of being like, you just need to stop spending, like stop buying books, stop going to get massages, stop buying the latte, stop the avocado toast or whatever that one was. It's like, let's identify what you value the most and let's take the shame out of it. Truly. And I think as couples, that's it. It's like, what does money mean to us as a couple? What does it mean to us? What do we want to do with it? Right. And sort of having like maybe not like a vision board, but like a value statement around money as a unit.